Rock and roll, here we go. So this is MegaMagic Guitars Part 2. And between the cool kind of ambient, chilly kind of opening track to the rock, to the jazz, it's a very flexible library. And this is just a fraction of what it has. It has over 172 new samples, 270 plus, I think 280, patches. Let's go to the website and find out. This is the new website. I'm so thrilled to have a new website. It's about time. It's taken a long time to get it to work the way we wanted it to work, but it's finally there. If you want to see libraries of a specific type, you just click on these little boxes. If you want to see what's available for Serum, boom, and there they are. If you want to see what's available for Massive, it's just one library. I would make more libraries if Massive actually got updated in the last 6 years, but it hasn't. Shame on Native Instruments for that. Omnisphere has a huge number of libraries. If you go up here to products, you can actually have a hover over. So you can see these are all libraries that will work if you have Omnisphere 1. If you have Omnisphere 2.1 or later, you can use these libraries or these libraries. But only Omnisphere 1 can play the 6 libraries over here. Can't play any of these in this column. And then additional libraries for the Native Instruments and so forth. There's a user area, and I want to point this out because this jazz guitar, this is a version of the Jazzman that's not in the library right now as of September 29th. There's also Back in Black. This is also you want to know what's really cool? Turn off the effects. Turn the effects back on. So that's what having, and I don't know if you know this or not, but inside of Omnisphere 2, when it came out, Spectrasonic snuck in all of these really cool amplifier, new distortion like Metal Zone, Foxy Fuzz, new analog chorus. All these are new effects that are geared towards getting samples to have real vibe, like real instruments. And they're incredibly well done. I'm guessing these are convolution presets that are doing the distortion. The Marshall sounds like a Marshall. And if you go, oh, I want to take it and I have a SansAmp after this, let's just listen to the SansAmp. I mean, and if you want to go like heavy metal distorted, you can go to Metal Zone and then change the order so that that hits and then it goes into the Marshall. Again, the samples. But the effects inside of Omnisphere 2 are just amazing. Really good. Anyway, Back in Black. I Am the Jazz Man Thin. A whole bunch of additional multis. All these multis are bonus and additional. So there's a whole lot of stuff. That library is coming out this Saturday, October 1st, during a live stream. So if you go to my Facebook page, and I'm not signed in right now, so it's doing this irritating thing because they want you to sign in. But you can see MegaMagic guitars in use in studios. And there's right here a live stream. Hit that link on Saturday and you can come here, and there's actually a recorded one right now you can watch from last week. And this live stream has Eric Hailstone. Just amazing. Then Chippy. And we go through the library with Eric Hailstone. We did that as a live stream. It was really fun. This Saturday, we're going to do another live stream. We're going to be talking about distortion, all these new amp simulators, all that stuff, how to get cool distorted guitars. So hit the live stream or go livestream.com/pluginguru. That will get you to my little corner of live stream events as well. I'm going to try to do at least one a week. It's really fun to do that. We'll come up with different themes. So one week we're going to be talking about, programming bass, or programming a certain sound. And I'll ask you guys on the Facebook page ahead of time, what do we want to talk about? So join the discussions. We're having some good times. If you go to your user area, you can now have a user area on my website. I love it. It is awesome. And by looking at this, you can see purchases that you've done in the past. And if you click one of these, you can either generate invoices, or you can go to whatever it was that you bought and re-download it. So you have a set number of downloads. And so on October 1st, come to your MegaMagic guitars purchase and click this to download it again. And that version will be updated to include all of these new multis, the Thin Jazzman, as well as the Back in Black AC/DC guitar. Maybe something else. I'm going to see if I can add a few more things to it as well. But it will at least have those. So October 1st, that's what you should do for those of you that own the library already. And I'll let you guys know through newsletters and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, let me show you real quick. So if we go to the user, I made a patch with the Strat through the Marshall stuff that I use for my Marshall guitar patch for the AC/DC. And because the samples are brighter and kind of out of tune, but because of that brightness, it doesn't hit the Marshall and sound as good. Compare that to part 2. Go to the bonus patches, to the Z guitar, Back in Black. So the darker, warmer samples and the consistency across the keyboard made for really cool. It's just crazy how it worked out. I wasn't expecting it to be that good for that. I wanted to try it, of course, but once I started playing with the distortion, I was like, this is really cool. So we actually went really crazy. When we get to the bonus patches, there's all sorts of really cool rhythmic, crazy stuff in between. There's really nice, cool, like the suspended rocker. Kill the effects. Okay, we'll get to these in a bit, but the effects and the bonus patches are just incredible. So there's a dry and there's a MegaMagic version of all of these different categories. The big difference, there's mainly 3 big focuses. There's the black hole guitar, which is a synthesized guitar. It's created in sculpture. Now the dry versions of everything are nice and short. And then the MegaMagic have a longer release. and additional processing. So okay. And then once you go through, the black hole opium has a different vibe inside the body itself after the attack. And then I continued with the res pad, which has the Universal Audio Moog bandpass filter sweeping for a really cool stuff. So the black hole, the jazz guitar, which there's a whole bunch of samples, and then the Strat. And we'll get to the phrases and the bends and stuff like that in a minute. So that's the heart of the library, is the black hole, the jazz guitar, and then the Strat. So the jazz guitar, let's look at that for a minute. There's all sorts of octave things which are really cool. Here's the chorus. So the dry chorus is a... And if you go over here to the effects, just to hear it in a more, you know, that doesn't sound quite right, but if you go to even a classic twin, and there's all sorts of presets over here, so you can make it, try something else. Distorted jazz guitar. Softy. And this is really cool with the reverb. And I snuck something into all of the reverb MM patches. Bring up the mod wheel. And there's this really cool wave shaping happening with the mod wheel bringing it up. And so there's all sorts of different open bold. And these are single samples across the whole keyboard. Okay? And then we get to the open. These are the ones that really work across the whole range. And so they go all over the place. A little bit of vibrato in the samples. In the sample. So there's a ton. I'm not even going to play them all. You just have to discover them all. Next up are phrases, and these are really useful and cool. Play one note. And these were done by Eric during the session, just noodling it when we were like in between talking about what we wanted him to play single note wise. He was just jamming. And just came up with these cool little phrases. Now, for the MegaMagic versions of the phrases, some of them I've chopped them up into 3 different pieces in this case because I wanted this. I wanted each one to have reverb by itself, otherwise it'd just be muddy. But each one plays really cool. All sorts of cool, alternate, glitchy kind of stuff. Jazzicitis. This just became a... I mean, hip hop, go. These are great for openings of songs, especially the MegaMagic versions. And the open chord, similar thing. Just beautiful. This came from... I just wanted the... you know. All sorts of open chord strums. These are really useful in different ways. Proud. Okay, so there's more phrases. Then we get to the steel 6. And the MegaMagic is beautiful. Okay. Then we get to Strat. And Strat goes all over the place. There's both clean and mutes. So, go to the MegaMagic. Some harmonics. There's harp type harmonics from the Strat. That Eric played all these different harmonics, and each time he strung, and it had different characters and qualities to it. So that's what makes the library so unique. Is the darn guitar would never do the same thing twice. So we have a whole lot of variety to work with. So it's to our benefit. Came out really great. I've mentioned it before, but I'll say it one more time real briefly. This guitar session is where also the samples came from for MegaMagic Bells and Winds. So, and that was at the very end of the session. So for like 3.5 hours, we did these guitars, and then for like 30 minutes, actually less than that, I played all the different stuff. So Bells and Winds, Guitars Part 1 and Guitars Part 2 all came from this one really productive, awesome recording session. And again, the guitar was different every time, so some had more of a juicy, great down low kind of thing. The high samples are more for the and again, if you go over to, and I think I set these up, yeah. So if you bring up like if you don't want that, you could go over to the amplifier. And we'll talk about this more at this live stream. There's a certain flow to the way that the parameters are set up. So you have really great control over both the head as well as the cabinet. And there's all sorts of different speaker convolution settings, which will give you a different tonality and stuff. So we'll cover all that. So the mutes, there's high and there's low. The low ones work really cool for like pick bass. And for the, and there's even one of these, it's a fifth. Oh, here we go, mute fifths. So Eric was playing fifths. Really cool stuff. Then we get to the Strat open notes. These are really usable for the distorted guitars or just clean, you know, Eric Clapton kind of things. But the MegaMagic versions are great in their own way. Really nice. So there's a ton of different Strats. You got the twangy kind, you've got rocker, which is it. Lots of different variety and variation. Softies are the but the dry version is really nice and okay. Then we get to the octaves. Kind of like a music boxy kind of thing, but the reverb versions are just lovely. So it goes on and on. So there's a ton of that. The Yamaha nylon, I like it. It's kind of like this alternate, like a harp but not. Then below this are glides, and these are really usable in conjunction with MegaMagic Guitars Part 1, because this has the Aria, it has the Martin, it has the Steel 6, and the Yamaha nylon, all doing these really cool, just a single sample, because if you put that in the right place in the mix, it's really cool. So you have slide up, slide downs. Even the jazz guitar, you have dry. Okay. So that's the library's core, are the phrases, glides, the black hole guitar, which is the structure, which is the structure, logic, synthesis guitar, the jazz, and the Strat. So that's the basic core of the library. Then you get to the Z patches, and these are the bonus patches that were created by ExoSun, Jason Schofer, who's done Northern Lights, myself, Airwave, MIDI Head, who's got a number of libraries at Ilio that are really great for the EDM guys for dance, and Taylor Harris, my assistant. He created some interesting, cool so I'll play some of these for a minute. There's all over the place what the Z patches will give you, and it's all over the place, which is great. It's really cool for people to take these patches, and I like to have them go and run with them and see what they can come up with. So we came up with basses, bells, BPM basses, stuff like that. And then the guitars, the BPM guitars are using the arpeggiator, which means you can turn that off, and now so there's actually two uses for each of these patches, and they go everywhere. Again, turn off the arpeggiator and really usable. Cyborg Among Us is using a really cool LFO, because this is the guitar, kind of like 9-inch nailed out, and then a synth wave, and the sync is being changed with the LFO. Put those two together and so this is an example where the ARP light is off. So it is doing what it's doing. EDM mutes. So we'll talk about all this distortion stuff at the live stream on Saturday to get you into it. So the BPM patches go everywhere. I mean, some glitchies. these are cool, the mod wheel. Okay, so it goes everywhere. Using the ring mod, I believe, on the guitar. Yeah, it's really cool. One note. This is using that, it's one of the chord strums. This is using phrase, open, the guitar strums. So, really cool. BPM pads. Airwave did these. In the dance track, that's golden money right there. BPM synth. Again, using those strums and the phrases. The aliens are high. Okay. Then we get to the guitars. I used this guitar in a demo, the demo that you heard at the very beginning of the song. Here's Back in Black. For Metallica, all that stuff. It's got a 7-band EQ on the common right here. So you can scoop it, thin it out, set it how you want it to be for the vibe you want. Phase plant. Jazz guitar. The original and in the newer. Okay. Menagerie is really cool for the there's solo rock. Strat So Soft. It goes everywhere. Dark body. There's a pad. Here's, okay, let's get into the keys. Alternative keys you'll find here for the most part. Okay. I love when Canada calls. For the boards of Canada. Very clever. Dark Stormy Waters. So the same library that does AC/DC does Dark Stormy Waters. We like variety. Airwave had to come up with meatballs for cat ears. Say hello. Here's Pluto. So here's a texture, and these get really huge sounding. You only need like one note of this. Really fun. Really cool library. So that's the patches. It's a great library. I'm really happy with how it turned out. There's 278 patches or something like that. It's a huge library. It's at a very reasonable price because it's part of a 2-part library. So I made each of them affordable. So I want you guys to all own it, ideally, right? So send me notes if you have questions. Watch the live streams at least once a week. I'm going to be broadcasting. I'll be putting up a note a couple days before the live streams happen. And I thank all of you for your continued support, and talk to you soon.